I wake up but stay in bed as long as I can. I don't want to do anything. There's no point. There's no one out there. It's just me. Hunger gets the better of me, and I eat some chocolate I found in the kitchen. I pick up the bed part I broke last night and make my way to the place I want to make my own. The place is a mess. Broken door, broken windows. Ugh. I really can't be bothered with any of this, but I have nothing else to do. I start by putting down the bed. And before I start looking for windows to replace the broken ones, I procrastinate and do everything else but that. I sort all my inventory out and put things into shelves. As the day ends, I finally start dealing with the windows. And to my surprise, I find that I can only remove the top floor window from the outside. I'll have to do some scaffolding later. I get the first window out safely, but the second one was a bust. I grabbed one from the living room instead and the door on my way out. Slapped those bad boys in, put up some curtains and called it a day. I put the radio down and there isn't anything on the air anymore, just noise. Only then, the fact that the car is still full of loot crossed my mind, right as I thought I had done everything I set off to do. So, despite it being midnight, I start emptying it. Even though I didn't do much today, there was something cathartic about it. My mind slowly calming down as I sorted the place out and tidied up. Having ideas about how to better have things placed and having a small-scale goal for my future, I allowed myself to get carried away, and before I knew it, it was 4 in the morning. As I entered the car for a last run before sleep, I hear groans. Running across the road, I ready myself for the horde. Glad I didn't go to sleep earlier, as they would have caught me off guard. By the time I'm finished, it's nearly 6. And as I go to bed, I think to myself, there has to be a better way to live than this. A freaking watch wakes me up 4 hours later. I get rid of them all out of anger. All I wanted was the parts anyway, in case I ever needed them. I spend the day sorting all the loot that was stashed in the car. And as the day ends, I'm looking for a few metal sheets to get myself some bracers for protection. My first thoughts turn to the garages in my surroundings, and as I pry open the garage door, I'm presented with another generator. I simply can't believe my luck. Am I the luckiest man on earth, or the most damned of it all for surviving? Grabbing it and coming back home, I see the carnage I made a few days ago. Was this justified? The catharsis slowly wears off, as I wonder if there is still a moral standard to begin with. Maybe I just feel bad for enjoying it so much? But I didn't feel the same last night. Maybe I went temporarily insane. I guess losing the world to this virus is a pretty big loss. And the only way for me to cope with any of this is taking it out on the victims. After all, I have no one to talk with anymore. Maybe that's why I'm clinging so much to the idea of my sister being immune too. But let's be honest, Costa. There's little to no chance for her to be alive at this point. What you do for yourself. There's no excuses needed anymore. Everyone's gone. It's just you alone here. So stop blaming yourself for this. No one is watching to judge your choices or say it's immoral. What about your caring for all the people here? All of them just want to rip your face off. So it's self-defense, right? Self-defense. Like there's a court out here. I guess you make your own rules now. You're the judge, jury, and executioner. And not the sanest neither, as I keep talking to myself in the third person now. A new feeling of catharsis sweeps through me. I'll be fine now. I had no choice, and need to keep surviving this, to its bitter end. After all, if anyone is reading this now, it's painfully obvious this is the story of how I died. With the new day starting, I let my inner harder take over and make sure I can cut whatever I want, have as many books as I need, or anything that might be remotely useful. Like all this dude's clothes. I might need some thread from it or something. A couple of bowls, all the food, saucepan, a microwave, and a few magazines are probably the only things worth mentioning. Why is the saucepan worth mentioning, you might ask? Well, I'll need cheese to add to pizzas, and with some mad cooking skills, I'll make myself some apocalypse pizza. Yeah, Faye, take that. I'm gonna to fatten myself up like that. As I use my new microwave, I think to myself, I must make some amends. There are still people out there I used to care about. I'll start by going back to my sister's place, now that I have a shovel. The air feels heavy. The corpses piled up together with the afternoon heat makes this nausea-inducing atmosphere. I carry on. I have to do this, despite starting to enjoy the comfort of my lonely corner in the world. Whether or not my sister is alive, I know she'll appreciate Oliver having a proper burial. I pick up his body and lay him to rest next to this lovely tree in the back. I think it's a better dignified marker than anything I could build. Afterwards, I go and pick up food from the supermarket. I take care of the hearth in the back, park my car inside, and then clear the front, making sure no one gets close to the shelves I want to loot. Don't want any blood on my food. I fill the car with as much food as I can with long shelf life. You know, canned food, dried food, butter, lard, chips, and other non-perishables. Well, to be honest, by this point most of the perishable food has rotted anyway. And make my way back home afterwards, noticing I might attract more attention than I would like. Even though I tried to make my way in to avoid zombies following me, there was a group too close for me to do anything about them. I get ready to put them to rest in the neighbor's lawn. Then, grab all the loot in the car and stash it away in the kitchen until it was close to midnight again. As I wake up, right as I open my eyes, electricity gives up on me. I wasn't expecting it to go so soon. Maybe the hards made the power grid collapse that much faster. My first thought was to turn on the generator I found a couple of days ago, but I never filled it with gas, so I siphoned some from the cars to keep my fridge going. I figure from the power consumption, I have 3 days worth of fuel. That should buy me some time to get some gas. But I do notice I'm powering an extra fridge that is not my own, so I move it out of the way across the house. It seems that did the trick, and I have an extra day to play with. I spend the rest of the morning doing some meal prep for the next few days. Nothing fancy, just a stew and a stir fry with the leftovers of the stew. But I got 4 bowls and 2 plates with pretty good nutritional value, and leave the cooking pot outside just in case it rains to fill it up. I empty the car, make myself a fruit salad to take me on my next trip, and start making my way on the road. After putting Oliver to rest, I keep thinking I should do the same to Greg and Elijah. I thought I would come across Elijah in the police station, but I didn't see him when I went on a rampage. So I drive to where I last saw Greg. Someone shot again. There's a few zombies around, but not him. Maybe they followed the helicopter noise and are up the road somewhere? Nope, there's no one here. Maybe they followed that gunshot or an animal to the forest around them. I'll sound my horn to get them to come to me. A group comes to me, but no sight of Greg. I sound it a second time, but again, I don't see him. I can still hear groans around me, so I shout. He finally comes out of the woods. I steel myself, get ready to strike, but I can't do it. I run away, take a deep breath, and face him again as I step back from him, waiting for the right moment to strike. But it never came. I push him away, and then again as he stumbles to the floor, I immobilize him, and as I get ready to strike, I lose my nerve again. I can't help but remember our good moments together. All the road trips, the lazy afternoon garden meets we'd have. As a last resort, I try putting the mask back on, grab my crowbar and look at him again. The numbness takes over. I'm no longer myself. And after coldly picking the right spot to strike, I put him down in one swing. I grab his loot from his body, pick him up, and morbidly sit him up in the right seat, rambling on how I've managed to survive the past week while I drive back to Rosewood. I guess I need to talk to a friend, even if he's gone now. Crashing into a lamppost as I get too emotional. Parking outside his place. I clear the way and bury him in his garden, under the lone tree he planted years ago. I take my helmet and mask off to say my final goodbye to him. I'll miss you, buddy. As I leave, only my mask is on. I'm no savior, I'm just a butcher. I don't need to fool anyone or myself anymore. I fill up my bottle of water and make my way back home. Getting spooked along the way. I need to get some sleep. A gunshot wakes me up, and wearing the mask yesterday made me so itchy I just have to shave this scruffy beard off. I spend my morning putting loot away, and after lunch I decide I need to have a better plan than what I've had so far. I've accomplished nothing, just been struggling to survive. So here's my plan of action. First, I need to find my sister, or what happened to her. Second, find who was responsible for all of this. And third, reach sustainability, so I can stop looking for resources all over the place and just produce my own whenever I need them. I'm in no state to do my first and second tasks. I have no clues where to start, and if I don't sustain myself, I might never manage to do them. So my first goal is to be self-sufficient. I need to find the tools and resources to start building my own base of operations. The best place I can think of is the warehouses up north before reaching Muldraugh. After securing myself and making sure I'm not getting a surprise attack from my back, I pry open the door and start looking for what I need. Boxes of nails, propane torches, welding rods, wire, more hammers, lug wrenches, tire pumps, seeds, paint, everything and anything that will be useful for my future survival. Finishing it off with grabbing a few crates for storage, an antique oven for the colder nights of winter, and a toolbox for the garage. When I'm done with my hoarding, it's nighttime. I consider staying here, but it's too dangerous. So I take the risk of driving with limited visibility back home and go to sleep after getting home. As I plan to do meticulous work today, I put on my glasses and spend my morning organizing yesterday's loot. Midway through, as I go to the car, a horse spots me, and after clearing them, I notice a cowboy hat on the floor. Given the heat, I take it. It will help prevent heat stroke. And after making sure I'm safe again, I return to do inventorying. Finishing it just after lunchtime, I decide to maximize my carpentry skills, so I need books. There's a bookshop on the next street, and if I can't find what I'm looking for, I can always take a look at the school. I do find some books and magazines I was looking for, but not Carpentry 5. So I make way to the school, where I find some more smithing magazines I'll need in the near future, and the Carpentry 5 I was looking for, and make my way back to the car. This zombie had a cool t-shirt and comfy slippers, so I use my crowbar in order not to damage it. As I get home and start putting the books away, I notice I forgot to wear my mask. Unlike before, taking down anyone I met was a breeze. The complete opposite of what happened with Greg. I guess a part of me stayed with him that day. As I put things away, and even though I made sure I wasn't followed, the zombie still broke in through a window. And instead of searching for me, it went for another window. Maybe it was a vandal in its past life. I lure it outside, add it to the pile, replace the window, and continue. I pause when I hear nearby gunshots, checking to see if it attracted any attention. It looks okay, but it reminds me that I still need to find fuel for the generator. As I get ready for bed, the smell of blood on my clothes turns my stomach. I swap them out for something that won't make my bed reek, and go to sleep feeling a bit better about myself for having fresh clothes on me. I gear up and start my day, get some food prep, and make my way to the gas station. After clearing the way to the generator I found last week, I pick it up and connect it to the gas station. Even though I could hear it coming my way, I must admit I still dropped a brick. By using a little bit of gas from the car to start it up, I fill up my car, the generator, and whatever cans I have to bring them back. But not before another zombie scared the bejesus out of me. Back home, I nearly got caught, but it tripped on the sidewalk as it got close to me. I'm still unsure about my luck. Am I lucky or is this just a sick joke? Yep, a sick joke. My axe broke on the last zombie I have to face. All about the drama, I guess. Whichever god is watching this must be a sick f***. Fortunately for me, I carry my crowbar with me, so I didn't have to improvise. I grab the next axe in line and take care of the generator. It seems it's going to last a couple of weeks. That's nice. As for the rest of the day, I grab a couch I didn't need inside and place it outside to enjoy the nice weather and read Carpentry 4 up until it's bedtime. The next day started as the previous ended, with reading and finishing Carpentry 4. And as I finish reading, I start looking into making light switches, as I'll be breaking walls and need to replace them. Unfortunately, this is a magazine I don't have, so I go out to look for it. The houses around me don't have it. I didn't leave it behind at the house where I left a bunch of literature, nor at Maria's place. And I checked the bookstore again in case I missed it, but nope. As a last resort, I tried the garage around me in case it's there before I give up. And then I found it. Not the magazine, but a second generator. Seriously? I had 2 generators next to where I wanted to fortify myself. I can only imagine the trouble I would go through to even find one if I had picked any other place. I pick it up and place it next to the other one. I need more fuel before I plug this bad boy in. Giving up after lunch, I decide it's not worth it going to the school, as I would have picked it up, and start reading Carpentry 5 for the rest of the day, pushing myself to exhaustion to finish reading it, as I want to start building all the things as soon as possible. I'll deal with the light switches when the time comes. Apparently, another zombie that is still into vandalism broke this window and left. They didn't even bother coming in. Not that I'm complaining, but what's the point really? Are you not loved by your zombie mom or something? Replacing it and moving on, I hear a watch beeping, and being the little hoarder that I am, I just had to grab it. You'd think a pile of dead zombies would get me away from here, but nah. Scavenging first, throw up later. So being the psycho that I've turned to be, I decide to execute my master plan. The reason why I've been piling up all of these bodies here. Yes, you guessed it. I need cloth. And thread. Tons of it. Why? To craft all sorts of stuff. To start, I'll need rope to put the logs into easy to carry blocks. Some more for a couple of metal bracers. Also, any piece of clothing that gets damaged can be repaired with enough cloth, denim, or leather. And it all starts here. Scavenging in this pit of forsaken humanity at 10 in the morning with the balmy 22 degrees Celsius. On a pile of rotting corpses, some nearly a week old, with flies all over the place. God, I'm getting queasy just being here. I didn't think this through. 8 hours later, and I regret everything. A zombie basically turned to mush right in front of me. On one side, I'm happy to have gathered the clothes beforehand. On the other, it made me call it a day, as I have to puke somewhere else. After stashing all those strips, I go to the neighbor's house. I need to wash myself after the day I had, and my clothes with it. At 10 o'clock in the evening, I leave my clothes on the floor drying for the next day, change into something not wet, and get some long overdue rest. I grab a couple of bags of chips, an orange soda, and a bowl of stew to eat during the day while at work. Finally, something I'm actually good at, chopping wood. Kind of miss it really. And don't need to travel far to get wood. One of the perks of being the apocalypse, I guess. Of course, according to health and safety regulations, I need to clear the place of any hazards before starting work. I also tried to check the place for the so-called bug-out bag, but didn't manage to find anything. After the first round, I decide to sound the horn to ensure the woods are clear before I start. And the second round begins. I noticed that the last remaining zombie has a nice black t-shirt, so I kill it without damaging it, only to realize under the scorching sun how bad an idea that was. So after a new t-shirt container comes about, I take its white t-shirt. It's much fresher than the black one I just had, and I was starting to cook even with the white vest. It's so bloody, I'll have to wash this. I go back to the houses to give it a quick wash. After the morning warm-up, I'm able to do what I was set to do initially, some good old logging. I do all the chopping I thought I would need and sit down to catch my breath. I hear a groan, and I start to get up. This one nearly got me. Ugh, makes me wonder if there was any point in sounding the horn before. Maybe I just made it worse. After eating my meal and stacking as many logs as possible, I start bringing them home. It took me until nighttime to sort all the loot from the day and the logs, so I leave picking up the rest of them for tomorrow, and I take the time to wash before bed. Wait, is this t-shirt pink? Ah, screw it. No one is here to judge you. You're fabulous. Well, no one but you, whoever is reading this. But judge all you want. I'm a dad man if you actually have this book with you. Waking up, I no longer feel fabulous, so I give myself a haircut and a shave. There's fog today. Not the best day to go around picking up logs, but I'll grab the rope and get them. One less thing to worry about later. And as the fog clears out, the sawing starts to my despair, as I'm sure to break a sweat under this hot sun now. Until I get interrupted anyway. I put it in the pile and finish sawing, leaving a few logs for a log wall to avoid encounters like this. 206 planks should do for now. I start working on the scaffolding. I need that window repaired for winter time. And as it starts raining, I grab a few bags to set up a rain collector barrel, or 6, as I don't want to ever struggle with water, and I've learned not to set it up in a way that when the barrel empties, a valve rotates to the next in line, all with wooden nails of course. Read Annex 1.1, How to Barrels, to learn the trick. After grabbing the pipe wrench, I turn the water back on and give it a whirl. Yum! Fresh, tasty water. The water filter is working too. Blessed. And the washing machine afterwards. Read Annex 1.2, How to Filters, to see how that works. After finishing the scaffolding for the second floor, I reward myself with some of the soda and do the meal prep for the next few days. Ah, progress. I wash myself while I cook, wash my clothes, plate everything, and fill up the pot for the next batch of stew. All without exiting the kitchen once. What a time saver, instead of scavenging for water in the houses surrounding me. This is one step closer to being self-sustainable. I grab another window from next door and replace my bedroom window. Afterwards, well, I did a lot of things. Found more garbage bags, scrapped some cars, went back to the warehouses to grab more materials. I forgot plaster basically, and found a wood axe while I was there. Smashed the walls of the house, painted it, and I thought this was a good ending for this episode. But as you see, OBS threw a tantrum at me, and I didn't have a backup save, so I apologize for that. There is no way I can save this footage as the frames per second turned into seconds per frame. Sounded alright during it, and when I tried it again today it was normal too. I have no idea what happened, guys. I'm so sorry for the ones that wanted to know how I ended up building this monstrosity. Newbie YouTuber and all that. Anyway, this is how I plan to have the episode end, as recorded now, after I noticed the problem while editing. I step outside and look at what I've built. A sense of peace finally hits me. A sense that despite all that I've ruined and destroyed, there is still space to learn and create anew. This is not much, and it's a pretty big mess. But it's my mess. Something that I've come up with. And with that, I can't keep going one more day. Just the next day, one day at a time. Try my hardest to make this work. Living in this post-apocalyptic world has not been easy. Far from it. But I hope you, who are still there, can learn from me how to survive out here and find happiness in the little things. If anything, how not to build a house. I'm so sorry everyone how this ended up. But besides making regular backups, I can't find a way to get that footage back. Maybe I can use debug to make footage up, but I'm sure it would be full of inconsistencies. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I carry on from here as this was a base building episode, or debug it and create footage of the 9 missing days? There is only a story piece that happened during those 9 days, and I can bring it up on the next episode anyway, so nothing is lost lore-wise. I'm too far in to give up on this project now, but I don't want to cut it short just because of my own failures as a YouTuber. If you're still watching this, I thank you for your support and understanding. I'll see you next time! The best place I can think of is the warehouses up north before reaching Muldraugh. Ooh, hold up.
There's a small town in Meade County that's been in the Guinness Book of World Records twice. WLKY's Lexi Sheen has more on what makes Muldraugh a special Kentucky town.
Muldraugh. 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 I think I said it right. Let's do it again just in case. Before reaching Muldraugh. Before reaching Muldraugh. Before reaching Muldraugh. Muldraugh.